Video 12 for Fitness with Gerry. We're doing some strength training. I'd like to review push-ups and the various possibilities with the push-up. Great exercise, trains a lot of the upper body muscles, and it also trains the core, specifically the abdominal wall, and you also get a little bit of legs involved with the position itself. Now, I want to suggest many people should stay down on their knees, because if you're trying to do a push-up with the knees up and you lose sufficient strength, very easy possibility of compromising or changing the movement, which could eventually lead to an injury. So for many people, down on the knees, what you can do is have the knees up for as long as you can, doing as many reps as you can do properly. Then once your muscles get too tired, drop down to the knees to continue with the push-ups. How many push-ups you do and how often you do them depends on your fitness level, and it depends on your goals. For myself, I usually set a goal of about 50 push-ups, breaking it up into groups of 10, depending on what I'm doing. And there's always the flexibility of changing that objective number. For example, the last time I trained push-ups was 5 days ago. My target number was 60, but I ended up doing 70. So allow yourself the freedom to change what the primary objective is, depending on how you're feeling. And at the moment, I do push-ups about 2 or 3 times a month as part of my management training goals. I have other dumbbells and a barbell that I can use to supplement the training, and so I'm not using push-ups as I would if I didn't have these other equipment. If I don't have the dumbbells and the barbells, I might do once or twice a week with the push-ups. I think any more than that and you're possibly going to overtrain, exhaust the muscles, and never give them a chance to fully recover. So, with that out of the way, let's get started. Push-ups, there are 3 basic positions for the hands. One is the regular grip, about shoulder width, or maybe a few centimeters outside the shoulders. The second possibility for the hands is to bring them closer inside. So many people like to do a diamond or a triangle with the thumb and the index finger. I just usually leave them like this, and you are the weakest doing this position because you lose a lot of shoulder strength. And in this movement, the elbows are running alongside and touching the ribs. So it's a lot more triceps, a lot less chest and shoulders, which is why you lose that strength. And the third main grip is with the arms out wide, and it focuses a lot more on the outside part of the chest muscle. And it's usually the easiest simply because you're moving less. You have less distance to travel to get your chest to the ground. So those are the 3 basic positions for the hands. The other basic things to know is you can have your body flat, parallel to the ground. You can have your upper body raised, putting your hands on the back of a sofa, on the back of a chair, or on a stool, or even using the wall or a railing. That becomes easier because there's more weight on the legs, less weight on the upper body, which means that you're going to be lifting less weight, which is why it's easier. The other position is with the feet higher. In that case, it's going to be harder because the weight is transferred, some of the weight from the legs to the upper body, which means you'll be lifting more weight. So let's just quickly review. Here is the regular grip. You can see my hands are just a little bit outside my shoulder width. And I like to divide, separate the fingers, push each finger and knuckle and thumb into the ground to divide the weight and put less pressure on the wrist. And going down and coming back up. The close grip, not necessarily a grip with this one, but putting the hands close, my elbows run alongside my ribs, and I lift down and up. And the third variation was with the arms out wide, the hands out wide, and I come down similar as the first two. The important thing, as we reviewed with the plank position, is that your pelvis is a little bit tucked under and your abdominals are engaged. You can imagine bringing your belly button to your spine because you really want to protect those large vertebrae at the lower back. So looking at it sideways, here I want to be as straight as possible and not allow the hips to sag down. So imagine pelvis is tucked under, belly button pulled into spine, and you do your push-up repetitions. If you're on the knees, try and have a soft cushion of some sort. Here I have a foam square just to protect your knees. Same as before, pelvis is tucked under, abdominals are engaged, and you lower the body up and down, and you can do the same 3 positions of the hands while you're on your knees. So that's the basics, and as I said, if you raise your body, here I have a stool, it becomes a little bit easier because more of the weight is transferred to my legs, and my arms and chest muscles have to lift less weight. And when you have the legs up higher, it becomes a little bit more difficult depending on how high you put the legs up. The higher you put the legs, the more difficult it becomes. Because now there's a lot more weight on the upper body. Okay? Now, the next variation, I have my laptop looking at the screen so I don't forget, is what I call uneven push-ups. So you're going to have to raise one hand, keeping one hand on the ground, and this hand is just like a guide. I'm trying to put as little weight as possible on the raised hand, so I focus more on that other hand, and what's happening is my body is slightly rotated, so the shift emphasis on the muscles goes more towards the sides and the ribs. So, starting position, I lower my right shoulder and then lowering my body. And what I can do is I can go back and forth. You can do 5 on one side, 5 on the other. Just make sure that you have enough strength to do the total number of reps. Or you could do 5 on one side, take a short break, and then do 5 on the other side. Another fun way for me to do it is with a ball. Same kind of thing. I do the push-up and go back and forth with some kind of ball. Another option is using a step. Many fitness clubs will have those exercise steps. Here's just a homemade wooden platform. Same thing, I lower to one side, then I can walk over and go back and forth. Okay? That's the uneven one. Now the next variation is, we did this before in a previous video. It's a possibility for plank, but you can also use it with the push-up. So I would bring my knee to my elbow and do a push-up. Knee to elbow and a push-up. To increase the difficulty, leave the knee at the elbow and lift up. Leaving the knee at the elbow just puts more weight on the upper body, meaning more strength required for the upper body to lift to do the push-up rep. And you can see I've lost my wind a little bit, but push-ups are great exercise. Move to hand. Yeah, okay. So the next one is coming down into regular push-up position. But now I move to one side and then the other side and then lift back up. Moving down into down position, move to one hand, move to the other hand, and lift up. Another good variety, it provides more strength for the abdominals and also the shoulders and the arms. Now the next variation is a combination of a yoga position called downward dog. Now it's not necessary that you know the downward dog well, but it makes a bit of a difference. So downward dog, you can check lots of YouTube videos. Here's the basic position for downward dog. So from here, I would move forward, do my push-up, and then move back into downward dog. This position, you can consider it's an active rest position. So I can get up to 20 or 30 reps without stopping because I'm getting the rest phase. And moving the body back and forth like this from push-up to downward dog. I am also using the muscles on the back. Specifically these muscles right here as I rotate and pivot on the shoulder joint. The next one is including the side muscles. So we have push-up. Do your push-up. I'll do on the knees this time. Give myself a chance to catch my wind. So push-up and then transfer into side plank. Move back into push-up. Transfer into side plank. So while you're in side plank, it's another one of those active rests. So my chest muscles get to rest while I'm in side plank. So the numbers can increase because of that short rest phase. Let me show you sideways. And you can hold side plank for as long as you want. It's a really good position to train the side abdominal muscles known as the obliques. And if you're going to be up off the knees, similar, just the degree of difficulty is increased because now you have more weight to hold up off the ground. Almost done. 2 more. This one, you do a regular push-up, but you stay on the lower part and you just pulse up and down. I usually do 5 pulses and then lift myself back up into push-up position. Coming down, do 5 pulses or 10, make it different, and lift up. What'll happen is you'll tire quite quickly with the pulses, and then it'll make it harder to lift back up. Now the last one, I'm going to have to pause the video because I need to get the dumbbells, and we'll come back. No, I won't pause. I can do it now. Just forgive these few moments while I get my toys. Homemade dumbbells. So now we're going to include a row, and I have the feet separated to give myself a bit more stability. Can you see me? Yep. So you come down into a push-up, and then you do a row. Push-up and a row. A lot more abdominal strength required. Just make sure you're focusing on that lower back. And there we have it. Push-ups with some fun variations to include in your training sessions. Thanks for watching.